Mr. Landry of Louisiana. Mr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm having trouble understanding how y'all can come to the conclusion that there's these systemic failures by using those three companies and claiming that because those three companies do such a large percentage of the work in the Gulf of Mexico, that every time they go on a job, they are using the same protocols and engineering for the different customers that they are doing business with. That simply is not true. There are different well designs that are in place by different oil and gas companies. Some of those well designs, I might add, have been around since the inception of deepwater drilling. But I don't understand how you came to this decision of a systemic failure. Why not look at those oil and gas companies who have drilled successfully without incident, looking at the well design and saying this type of well design seems to be the safest? In my opinion, it certainly would save the taxpayers a lot of bureaucracy if y'all took a look at those different designs. Did y'all take a look at the different well designs? And did you take in mind that they did not, that when those contractors work for different oil and gas companies, they don't follow the same protocols and engineering specs?
We did look at the design of this particular well, and at least two companies made clear to us that they would not have chosen the design that BP did for that formation in that place. But
Mr. Riley, and I apologize for cutting you off, but you told me earlier that y'all took into account the 3,200 or the 2,500 wells that were drilled in deep water. You told me you took into account their history and their success, but yet now you're telling me that you only took into account the well design on BP, on BP's Macondo well.
Well, the conclusion that the well design that was used by BP at Macondo was not an appropriate one, or was one that created more risk than were necessary in the eyes of at least two companies, is based upon a judgment about alternative well designs of the sort that you suggest.
Well, I'm asking, I'm trying to clarify your answer. I mean, did you look at the other well designs and take into account that when you issued your report telling us that there is a systemic failure in the industry and that we have to create these additional levels of bureaucracy costing the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars when you made that recommendation? Did you or did you not look at the history of the other deep water wells, the 2,500 or so, that have been drilled in the Gulf of Mexico when you took into account issuing this report?
Yes, sir, we did. And let me say, from the point of view of someone who considers 1 in 2,500 not so impressive, frankly, if it's going to cost $40 or $50 billion to the economy of the area and to the company involved, I think we're drawing a different conclusion from the success rate. I regulated at the Environmental Protection Agency for, with respect to a number of issues, 1 in a million, which was the maximum acceptable impact or fatality, mortality, premature death associated with a certain kind of decision, a pesticide decision, for example. So 1 in 2,500 doesn't impress me as a very positive record, frankly.
Well, I certainly would like you to look in the eyes of the people who are losing their jobs down in Louisiana, who have built this industry, who have basically been drilling since 1947 off of that coast, and tell them that. I can tell you from living down there that safety is #1. It has been for a very, very long time.
Congressman, the decision to deny them their jobs and to shut down every rig in the deep water area, every exploration rig, is one that I think is highly tendentious, excessive, and hard to justify. And have made that clear, as has Senator Graham, from the outset. We would have approached this in a more selective fashion so as not to penalize those companies that had not been specifically implicated in the disaster. After some short period of review and inspection, which did in fact take place, and they were cleared. So we're not here to defend the denial of jobs or against the resumption of activity in the Gulf. Very much we want to see it resume, but we want to see it resume safely and effectively.
And
May I put your name in as a recommendation to take Ms. Browner's place then?
Congressman, I have to take exception to the statement that you made about that we're recommending hundreds of millions of dollars of additional regulation. Yes, we are recommending that there be an adequate, competent, politically insulated safety function within the U.S. Department of Interior. I don't think those are radical suggestions. Number two, we're recommending that the industry, as other high-risk industries have done, assume more responsibility for their own evaluation of safety. That's no cost to the U.S. Government, and I think is a very prudent suggestion to the industry, and one which will contribute to the industry's long-term viability. So if you see something in our report that you think is hundreds of billions of dollars or millions of dollars of additional expense and an excessive addition to bureaucracy, I would like to be directed towards that, because that was not our intention.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Mr. Flores.